photographs of anti-Pinochet demonstrations, was himself arrested and tortured by the secret police.
It was really painful when they began to put you electricity and all over my body and beating me up, deprive me of sleeping. And after a few days, I started the psychological kind of torture.
The plight of Chile's missing thousands was highlighted by the singer Sting. Campaigners for human rights like Lord Avebury say it's time the general face justice.
And I think Britain's showing an example to the rest of the world on how these dictators and war criminals and people who commit tremendous crimes should be dealt with in foreign jurisdictions. Let's hope it gives a warning shot across the bows of dictators everywhere.
Pinochet's government helped Britain during the Falklands War. This, it seems, led the general to believe he had a special relationship with the British. Despite his regime's record of human rights violations, General Pinochet was a regular visitor to Britain and his country's embassy here in central London. It seems ironic now with the general under armed guard just a few streets from here, but he often voiced his admiration for Britain and the British way of life with its respect for rules and regulations. Tonight, restrained by those regulations, this is what he's hearing from his hospital bed.
We want justice! Justice!
Paul Davis, News at 10, Central London.
Now soccer, Brian Robson has signed a new contract with Middlesbrough that will keep him with the club for another 5 years. The move should end speculation in some quarters that he could have been a replacement for Glenn Hoddle as the next England coach. In the Premiership tonight, the spotlight was on the managers as Leicester City entertained Spurs at Filbert Street. Spurs fielded their first side, picked by George Graham. Leicester wondered how long they could hang on to their manager, Martin O'Neill. The score tonight, Leicester 2, Spurs 1. Will Warden reports.
It was what many will interpret a final farewell. Martin O'Neill's gesture, despite the pleas of the Leicester faithful tonight, the clearest indication yet he's on the way out of Filbert Street and bound for Leeds. And all this on an evening when Spurs under new boss George Graham were the visitors. Graham's departure from Leeds, the reason O'Neill's future is so in doubt. And if Graham was unpopular here before tonight, Spurs' opening goal, Darren Anderton to Les Ferdinand, won't have lightened the Leicester gloom. The new Spurs manager, famed for 1-0 victories, had a 1-0 lead, but it didn't last. Leicester, with their first attack of substance, scored through Emil Heskey. Into the second half, and Spurs continued to press without ever threatening, until with just 13 minutes left, Chris Armstrong spurned the chance that would have given his manager a win in his first game in charge. Muzzy Izzet made Armstrong pay, his stunning strike 5 minutes from the end, enough to give Leicester the points. Points that will probably be the last they earn under Martin O'Neill, a manager who left the field tonight to a standing ovation, but with the message very clear. Will Walden, News at 10.
Then headlines again. The Chilean government has formally protested to Britain over the arrest of its former dictator Augusto Pinochet. The general's lawyers say they'll fight any attempt to have him extradited to Spain, where a judge wants him to stand trial on charges of genocide, torture and terrorism. The defence in the Russell murder trial in Kent have elected to offer no evidence. Summing up will continue tomorrow before the jury is sent out to consider its verdict. And 16 months after being banned from boxing for life, Mike Tyson has been given back his licence to fight. And finally, there's a brighter outlook for fans, officials and players in the Nationwide Football League this winter. They'll all be using a new ball. It's a fluorescent yellow one. ITN's Sue Saville reports.
In training tonight, this youth club team were putting the new fluorescent ball through its paces. The yellow coating is designed to show up better in gloomy conditions.
Can be seen clearly, keeper's happy with it, I'm happy hitting it. Happy seeing it going into a goal.
I think it's a very nice ball, very smooth to kick the ball. It stands out in the dark, so it's a very useful ball.
The new ball will be used in all Nationwide League games from November the 20th. It follows trials at 3 clubs, Luton, Swindon and Crystal Palace, but players say it might clash with yellow shirts.
Well, I think there could be a clash spot there, but obviously the referee will use his initiative and they'll probably change the ball or the kit.
Cricketers too have rung the changes. They've already swapped their traditional whites for multicoloured kit and replaced the red ball with a white one under floodlights.
the Cup final of 1911.
But the sacred football itself has altered little over the years. The heavy leather-laced ball seen here in Edwardian days was also used by living legends. At least one welcomes the latest change to the ball.
As long as it performs adequately, or more than adequately, then fine. If it's orange, green, it doesn't make any difference. But if you can see it better, players get an awareness of where it is, then it must be of benefit.
The company that spent 3 years developing and testing this fluorescent coating say it gives players a 3-millisecond advantage in spotting the ball,
which of course just might give the goalie a better chance for a save. Sue Saville, News at 10.
That's the way the news looks tonight. We're here again tomorrow. From all of us here at ITN, good night.
Good evening, turning milder for the rest of the week, but we've got one more cold night ahead of us, and that does mean a widespread frost for eastern Scotland, northeastern parts of England, touch of ground frost further south. But further west, we're going to get a blanket of cloud later on. That should prevent a frost, but the cloud and wind heralding wet weather for Northern Ireland tomorrow morning, clouding over across western parts.
A thing of the past.
And will taking pictures be as easy as telling the time?
In tomorrow's world, will laptops
become head tops?
When we talk, will it always be eye to eye?
And will your juice always be freshly squeezed?
Tomorrow's world, tomorrow's science tested today. Wednesdays on BBC One.